Oh, the conversations you people miss. Welcome to your
I
call.
didn't say what she preserved. I will
Never
point
mind.
that out. I could have.
You didn't have the heart to tell us.
Or the other.
And that's it
parts.
for us. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time. No. Hi, welcome to
many
Yar
miles
Talk,
did you want?
everybody.
Hi.
Hope you're having a good day. These people are clearly having something. We've got Francisco, we got
Enjoying
Natalie, we got
reindeer
Pete, we got
jerky.
Trolls, we got IKIFOO, and we've got a lot to talk about.
Sounds delicious.
So let's get right into it. We start the news with a sad note. This is my last brew.
Did it live up to all your expectations?
We must skip him the brew.
It's not that bad. I'll probably order some more in the future.
I have 2
In the
brews
meantime,
my
if I'm
fridge.
really,
Why didn't I
really
burn
desperate for a
those?
bubble
Butter!
Butter.
I was just kidding.
Butter?
This early into the stream. If I'm that desperate for a bubblegum flavored drink, I can just order me some.
I can't believe it's not
Ooh.
brew.
I love
can't believe it's not
bubblegum-flavored
bubblegum.
things. My
Anyway.
favorite kind of ice cream is bubblegum ice cream.
We start the
Oh,
news.
you'd enjoy a Buffalo Bill then.
We start the news legitimately with this. Myst. That game. You may have heard of it. On the 26th of last month, it celebrated its 26th anniversary. Or at least last month, it celebrated its 26th anniversary. Something like
We
that.
say celebrated.
Yeah. Well, I say.
More.
Shucks, we
And-
just missed it.
And Cyan's online store decided to mark the occasion by coming into existence. And I should probably bring it up. I forgot to do that. Professionalism. Who said I had it?
No one. We don't do
No one.
professionalism on this show.
You've made that joke before, and yet we have still to...
It's
say
Still
it.
not
There
professional.
it is.
Never will be.
That's the
Which
one.
speaks to our professionalism, I feel.
There we go. Here's the Cyan store. It's got all
It's very
sorts of
cyan.
Myst stuff.
I
And
know sorts of
I have to
It looks
say,
pretty white to me.
I'm
Do they have demotivational
It should
Yeah.
be magenta or white or black.
Yeah, What
so
fucking
we've got
year is
all
this?
the 4
got these
CGA
posters,
colors.
and I have to say, I'm really not all that impressed. In fact, if I'm being brutally honest, I'm a little bit pissed off by it. Because
Yeah, I'm infuriated as well, but mainly because it's missed.
shut up. This
Is that the place I got stuck in the coffee cup?
Yeah,
Yes.
In the middle there?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
the
fun
mug
things
is
do happen.
okay.
Yeah, but this is the company that is supposed to have brought us all these imaginative worlds and everything. So why can we not show a little bit of imagination with the products they're putting on the store?
The t-shirts are very disappointing.
admittedly-
Good variety,
Yeah.
but
They got-
ultimately...
they got a place you can suggest product ideas. But I mean,
Anything but this!
Levers.
yeah, exactly. First off, a t-shirt, $30 almost.
They
For a
have
Oh!
t-shirt. Yeah.
Oh!
$27.99.
Fuck
for a
me
shirt,
blind.
Which
that
just
just
has
says Myst.
which just
We
has
can
the
work
Myst
on that
logo,
now.
And the Myst logo
Prego,
isn't
how
even
does that work, IKIFOO?
The Myst logo isn't even that big. I mean, give me a blank T-shirt and some iron-on transfer paper. I can knock one of these out for less than $10 if I want.
Give me a fucking
my
glitter
God.
pen.
Which,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like
How about puff
symbol
paint?
stuff that they could put on there.
Puff pain.
I mean, I will
They
give them
could've-
props at least for including ribbon. I mean, barely, but they've included it. But,
Is it not the same font? Just with slightly different coloring?
yeah, seriously. I mean,
I have a question.
of
Why
all
why
these-
haven't they included some of their classic games, like the first Dune game? Oh, I'm sorry, Francisco. Am I boring you?
Always.
of all of these, if I was going to buy any of these, it would maybe be the mug, because you're not
Yeah.
likely to get that somewhere else. But yeah,
Yeah.
I could do the Mist shirt for less than $10. I mean, first off,
The first Dune game.
Ooh.
I would like to see some representation from the other 3 games. Yes, even Revelation. But I realize also that there's probably some stupid bullshit on Ubisoft's end that's preventing that. But
Well,
What
wouldn't
about
it be cool
abduction?
to have like a shirt
What?
with that on it?
yeah, I mean, just
Ooh.
if you're
That
gonna
would
give
be
me a
really
shirt,
Yeah.
if you're gonna give me a shirt,
Or that? Even
Yeah.
just
yeah, anything. If you're gonna give me a shirt, give me something that isn't easily duplicatable.
Gemini
Like,
is
give me
very
a
upset
full,
about shirts. If you're
Shush.
just joining us,
give me a full shirt graphic with Miss
Something.
Stylet on it, something like that. Or
Something.
like
you
I
listening,
agree.
Cyan?
Like when I stopped,
Diane,
when I shut the website down, when I stopped looking at it, I instantly came up with like
That
several
got
ideas.
ominous in a hurry when I
Yeah.
hack this website and take it down from the inside.
Hack the planet.
Like you could have like pins. Like one of the perler bead art things that I got on my wall right there is the dagger from Riven. That would make a perfect pin, or a linking book, or something. Or speaking of
Yeah.
linking books, have like a flip book of those flyby animations you get in the linking books. Or better still, you know those pins that you had from the 90s, or maybe they still
Yeah.
make them today, or I don't know, but they were popular in
And,
the 90s.
and where's the items
They had-
from? The
they had the window
manhole,
in it.
Cosmic Osmo, and the worlds beyond the mackerel, and
Yeah.
Spelunks, and
They-
the
they
You're
had-
caves.
they
looking
had
at
the
the
window
list. You're cheating.
Yes, I
looking at a
am,
list.
because who the
Shush!
fuck played these games?
I'm
And the
trying-
Bliss
I'm trying
computers
to
and the
vent.
crotch
Shush.
books and
Because
the...
every
Yeah.
other game on the list is just Myst, Real Myst, the other Myst, Myst Masterpiece Edition, Myst
The manhole's
Grandma Edition.
super neat.
Come on, you know I've played the manhole.
It's really cool. It's a
Yeah, but
very
anyway,
Yeah, I know.
make one of those
I,
pins with the thing in the window that goes up and down, and have the falling man in it.
I
Show
want
some fucking imagination. That's my point.
I want a shirt
believe
with the
I've-
shitty suns.
anything, anything.
The shitting son?
Just
I
show
want
a
a
little
shirt
more
with Pete in a
imagination
coffee
than
cup.
that.
Bliss to clarify,
I
I
said
have,
shitty.
I have
Yes?
an anecdote.
Shitty and Sons, S-O-N-S.
Yeah, suns. The shitty suns from the first
Praise the
first
suns.
game.
I have
They're
a
the
very
assholes.
brief.
I love those guys.
Francisco
need
may have
to-
something to say here. I'm dying to hear it.
I have
Yes,
a
yes.
very brief anecdote which will hopefully succeed in making you all smile.
Hello, Gabriel.
and probably
Okay.
piss off Gemini.
Yay!
I'm already pissed off. I
Excellent,
looked at the sign
excellent,
in the store.
excellent.
So several
No, no,
weeks
no.
ago, at the PAX West Sierra party, there was a person in attendance by the name of Brandon Bloom, who you may know as the musician for the Mage's Initiation and several other things. He was wearing a Myst T-shirt, and Ivy Dupler, voice actress, who was also on the panel, and her boyfriend Aaron were in attendance. And Aaron is quite a fan of the Myst series, and so we didn't know that it was Brandon. And I was like, look, that guy's got a Myst T-shirt. You should go talk to him. Break the ice. Go talk to him. And he was like, no, I don't know what to say. Whatever. So without missing a beat, the conversation went. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but it went something like this. I said, well, it seems you've had a missed opportunity. And he said, well, I'm riveted. And I said, don't make me exile you to the patio. And he said, what did he say after that? But I said, you rue the day that you didn't go talk to him. And then he was like, well, I guess it's the end of ages. That's my anecdote.
I'm
Good
just,
night, everybody.
I'm just glad you didn't squeeze Revelation in there.
Oh,
I think
I think
I
he
don't
said
feel like
something like
standing up.
it's a revelation or something. I don't remember anyway.
That I would
I-
give
I-
a standing ovation.
basically-
I have
Went through the entire
I
series, making
have
comments.
I have a foot a foot in mouth
People are saying I'm
situation
quiet.
with
Let me try it.
with Myst. So the one of the GDCs I went to, they were showing Abduction, and so like I was friends with someone who wanted to see footage, so I was going up and just recording the thing, and then someone comes up and talks to me, and I'm just going like, yeah, I didn't really like Myst. I found it really lonely and boring and all that. It was one of the Millers.
Wow.
To be fair, he understood. Like he was like, "Oh yeah, no. If you're going from that point of view, yeah, I can see why you didn't like it." I was like, "Yeah, okay,
like
that's
her.
fine." But like, I did not know that it was him. And then like, I'm sending this footage to my friend later, and then they went, "Oh, no, what?"
At the same Sierra party that Francisco mentioned, I had the
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Exactly.
I had the
Yeah.
I had the not foot in mouth esteemed honor of telling Corey Cole to his face that I've never completed a Quest for Glory game. It filled me with honor and pride.
We're gonna make that change someday.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
What?
Richard
Why
Cobbin
didn't you-
has tried. If Richard can't get me through it,
Good.
no one can.
Come on.
Why don't you come to my stream next weekend, where several of us are going to be playing Quest for Glory with the Coles? No,
I think
Yes?
Corey has had quite enough of me.
I meant just watching. Just watch us. Come in here, our ridiculousness.
That's what you said last time. It turned into a... Moving hastily on.
Yeah.
I have nothing nice to say.
To sum up, the cyan store exists now, but that's about the kindest thing I could say about it. It's
And it's not
Accepts
when we rack on the
HTTP
Magenta
requests.
boring items in the store that are way
Better stuff.
overpriced. That's about all I have to say about it.
That's pretty much every merchandise opportunity, but
Yeah.
I digress.
So,
Hey, I have a piece of news.
go ahead.
Ooh.
It's a very terrible one. Sadly, I'm going to bring the whole house down with this, but I felt it was actually kind of worth mentioning because we've had, well, it's not technically an adventure game company, but a similar fate sort of befell an adventure game company in the past, and I thought we might just mention
Is this
it.
Frogwares?
No, this is
Okay.
this is.
I mean, that's sad in itself, whatever the fuck's going on there.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
go
the
ahead,
developers
Schultz.
of Monument Valley, Us Two Games.
Oh,
I don't know
Us
how
Two,
they
yeah.
pronounce Us Two. Yeah, they allegedly, we have to say, of course, they denied, but they fired a lead developer because he tried to organize and unionize and prevent crunch and all of that, and their response was to yeet him the fuck out of the
Yeah,
company.
I think
So,
Papaya posted something about that. I remember that. Yeah.
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 That's what I gotta say.
Comes
The-
down.
Yeah, that sucks.
So let's
Fuck's
not
sake.
do that, shall we? And the other, the adventure game company I wanted, or we all know it's Telltale. Yeah, they burned themselves in the ass with crunch and such, and I'm pretty sure none of the Telltale employees had unions either. But Us Two Games are in Great Britain, where what they did is illegal. So, you guys should look into that, Americans.
Unions are good.
They are.
Yep.
Unions are good.
I'm
So I just
I
I'm
don't know why
gonna
anybody doesn't like them besides corporations who don't want to waste money.
I support
money.
my local GWU chapter.
I get mad.
Woo!
Good.
Game Workers Unite, if anyone is...
Well, yes.
I'm trying to. I can't think of the downsides apart from people who immediately hear the word union and respond communism. But apart from that,
Or what happened to
Can't see.
Jimmy Hoffa? Wait, that's a real...
Jimmy
I
Hoffa was.
didn't know Yoda was in the
Jimmy
union.
Yeah.
Hoffa.
Now I want to see a Muppets movie where they go looking for Jimmy Hoffa. It's time
wanna
to
watch
find
that.
the bodies. It's time to stand up rights.
Stand up for workers' rights.
Somehow turned
Workers'
it around.
rights. Did you say
Yeah.
workers' rights?
Yeah,
Here I am standing on the
So-
corpse of Jimmy Hoffa.
So it's a Muppets movie where they go looking for Jimmy Hoffa and also unionize.
Unionize, yeah.
I can get behind
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's been too long. The Muppets need to unionize.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
They've
I'm
been
surprised they haven't
exploited
already.
too long.
But Kermit is what's it called?
Well, the friendly dictator? Or...
Gab.
Yeah, he's the dictator of the Muppets. Come on, it's true.
So speaking of
The
Kermit,
Union Buster.
speaking
Down
of,
with Kermit!
that's not where I was going, but okay.
trying to think
Yeah, as we hinted earlier, Frogware is having a bit of trouble.
Speaking
with,
of frogs.
yeah,
Drive.
with their games. They were in a publishing and distribution agreement with a company called Focus Home Interactive or something like that, who distributed most, if not all, of their Sherlock Holmes games. And that agreement has ended. However, Focus Home now refuses to relinquish the IP of the Sherlock Holmes games back to Frogwares, and they have rather taken down a lot of the more recent Sherlock Holmes games from PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation, and Steam. The only one that seems to have survived is Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment on Steam. That one's still available as of the last time I checked, which was last
They're all
night.
on GOG because they're all on sale right now.
Yeah,
They're having
recently
a weekend
Focus.
detective sale. Hey, you know what else is on sale?
Not
GOG
yet.
Detective?
Not yet. Hang on.
All right, fine.
Recently, Frogwares, I say recently, this is like a few hours ago, they released a digital booklet that has, it's for free, that has art and stories of the development of all the Sherlock Holmes games. And you can claim it on GOG, Steam, or directly through Frogwares. GOG, you enter a code on GOG.com/redeem. The code is Sweet Thanks, which I'll go ahead and type that in the chat.
Oh, Siriar says... No, actually, Summer says that more of them are back on Steam at the moment, but...
Well, some of the older ones, like Silver
some-
Earring, are probably still up, but the
I'm
more
probably
recent,
still on Big Fish because
Yeah.
everything stays on Big Fish once it gets there.
yeah, the more recent
No.
ones like Crime and Punishment, The Testament versus Jack the Ripper, those are the ones that are, and Devil's Daughter too. Those are the ones that are in danger. But anyway, go to GOG.com/redeem and put in that code, Sweet Thanks. It's also free DLC on Steam for, I think, Crime and Punishment. And then there's a bit.ly link that Adventure Gamers released that you can claim it at as well. So, yeah, little bit of a kerfuffle going on with Frogwares.
Okay, Dan says physical games, people, physical games. Now, not to derail the conversation too much, but these games might also be exempt. But let's not get into the whole the whole always need an internet connection, need central server, that kind of thing. I have a feeling that with modern games, you might get into a bit of trouble on that. Yes.
He's agreeing with you.
Yeah. So, Dan, you might be right in certain cases. Yeah, physical copies. Oh, physical copies, they always work. Yay. But they sadly don't. So, for more on that,
Yeah, if you
check
have
out
to connect
our-
to a foreign server to play the damn thing, then physical copy's not going to be much help to you.
No.
So
So,
this is bad for two reasons. One, you're having the hissy fit between two companies who just can't seem to get along, and god damn it, why can't we just have GoldenEye 007 as a digital download, for fuck's sake? It's only like 4 companies. Get together, get your shit together. But
Why did they
it's
take
like-
a patch to fucking make the first 2 Doom games run on the Switch? I mean, what the fuck, Bethesda?
Because
Why
But,
can't
you know,
we
the
keep
other-
No One Lives Forever and No One Lives Forever 2 on digital downloads? Gosh darn it.
yes,
Piracy.
which is pretty much what I was going into with the second point, which is digital
Boy.
boys.
I mean, we were
Digital
talking.
preservation is good. There, I'm
Yeah.
done. Back to the pirate boys.
We were talking a few episodes ago about abandonware. There you go. We don't
Piracy
officially.
is different.
We don't
but,
officially endorse it.
I
But
don't endorse piracy of things that are easily accessible and
Yeah.
are pirating them would actively hurt a current game studio. I don't support that at all. What I support is saving these games that otherwise are getting. I don't need to go on a rant, but
Yeah.
you understand.
It's
You got me.
like
We understand.
I think Jim Sterling.
We feel
said it-
ya.
I think Jim Sterling said it best, and I'm paraphrasing here. If you don't want to take my money, then fine. I don't want to give it to you. I'm just going to go get it somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, like that is my
Frank
view
Cifaldi
entirely.
has
If
a
you're not
great
selling it,
talk. Frank Cifaldi has a great talk on the benefits of piracy in order to save a lot of these games that otherwise would be just gone, just completely gone. No way to buy them, no way to get them. The only way to play them at all or preserve them at all would be to pirate them.
Yeah.
That's really important. It's kind of a digital archaeology at this point for some things. I don't need to
what
go on
was
it.
it? The Internet Archive recently released a bunch of apps and games and stuff from
I was really excited
systems-
about that.
Yeah, from systems that are no longer, being produced, like the N-Gage. Like a ton
Yeah.
of N-Gage
Wow.
A
games
lot of
just got dumped.
old mobile games.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Just
the
got
old
dumped
really
from the
JTV
Internet
ones.
Archive.
It
Did you
has
hear me?
Orcs and Elves, which if you guys have never played Orcs and Elves, it is one of the best mobile games of all time. It is really
Ooh.
good, not just like for a mobile game. I really enjoyed that game.
And the
It's
the
a
complete
dungeon
irony of all
crawler.
of this is that even if you somehow got a hold of an original N-Gage piece of hardware and the original
even do
game
it.
cartridge, the fucking console is falling apart because it's made out of that cheap plastic that melts over
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
it's tremendously hard to find an N-Gage that hasn't physically melted. So I mean,
Yeah, it sucks.
What better argument for digital conservationism and abandonware is this software is not literally abandoned; it's orphaned.
It's
Yeah.
gone.
It doesn't have a home
There's
to go
no
home
other
to.
way of playing these games.
It
Exactly.
is one step away from
Piracy.
becoming Batman.
Piracy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got,
You know, at this
it's got the big AAA publishers going, have you ever danced in the pale moonlight with the devil?
Yeah.
Dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. I ask that of all my prey. That's what he said.
How often do they say yes? Not often.
If it were me, if the Joker was trying to kill me and asked me that, I'd be like, yeah, all the fucking time, dude. I'm
Oh,
not scared of you or
Cool.
your
Bye.
weird sayings. Get out of here.
so,
Okay, I'm just gonna stick that in the chat, by the way.
Leave your shoes.
what you sticking
Very
in the
fancy.
chat? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. I
Accidentally
100%
open
fully
Parsec.
support archive.org and all of the
All
great
right.
preservation that they do.
All right.
Did I mention the second? Okay,
Go ahead.
final thought. The second best argument for abandonware was when I was sitting physically next to Ken Allen, and we were in my apartment. He was drinking whiskey. I was drinking beer, and at some point, during the
winning
night,
combination.
we went, "Hey, let's play that game you designed for Interplay, Return to Ringworld." And he goes, "I don't know who owns the rights anymore."
That's
So
the
you're,
other problem.
you can go you can just go download. Let's find an abandonware site. The fucking designer is sitting right next to me and going, "Let's pirate my game. Who gives a shit?"
Ooh.
Well, like, what's it called?
Ser-
Even Josh Mandel with Callahan's is like, yeah, go ahead, pirate it. There's no way anyone's going to be able to sell it again.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no way.
I want
No.
that. I want that.
Serial-
Pete. I helped you
Supporting
get
it.
that.
Okay. Serial brings up a good concern in the chat. It
Pete,
says, never,
Pete, you're
never
going to leave
make an
that to me when you
antivirus
die,
scan.
right?
It's in my. You're in my will.
Okay.
Thank you,
Trolls-
thank you.
Trolls gets the Space Quest one. You can have this.
Time out.
I will come
Yay!
kill you. Sorry.
Shush.
Yes.
Serial says, never make an antivirus scan on your diskettes because the antivirus will kill what it thinks is a virus and destroy
to
the
be
main
really
parts of the
careful.
game, which I did not know.
Yeah, you have to be really careful when you are getting older games like. And
Yeah,
like
set the right protection.
They'll always act like this is a dangerous download.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, you have to be careful, certainly, because sometimes they could be dangerous downloads, but it's kind of one of those things that you have to prepare for with, you know, a virtual box or whatever.
I mean, even now,
Yeah, it's
when like you download older games from GOG and you try and run them,
Yeah, and then-
Windows will pop up says,
Windows is
we
like,
found
"Wait
a
a minute."
dangerous program. Do you want to run this?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine, Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Stop
that same thing
babying
that
me.
makes
Calm
it
down,
so,
Mom. God.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get some of these games running because they were not running to the standards that Microsoft put out, and I am putting the biggest
it's-
inverted commas around standards
Yeah.
as I can. Hence, partly why Vista was such a disaster because they enforced those standards that had technically
Oh,
been out for 10
shit.
years.
That's one of the
So-
reasons that I, you know, for all the issues that I have with GOG, I support them in that they are one of the few places where you can get some of these games working on a modern platform without, you know, having a virtual machine and like going through all these hoops that, you know, there are games that I haven't been able to play for years, even with like I'm pretty good at getting shit to run nowadays that does not normally run, and there are still games that I cannot get to run that I could
Nobody
get.
can run Black Dahlia. It is impossible.
Exactly. That's a prime example. Like there's no, so
I
hard
still
to
haven't
do
not
it.
tried. I really should try.
There is a
Cannot
pretty
It's
good
not
build of DX
impossible.
Wind, which does
But
quite
it's
well. I've
not
not fully
easy.
tested it, but it is there.
FMV
Alright.
Club in the future.
We're going to move on.
Right.
And moving on
Oh,
to a
yeah,
happier note.
Can I just say
yeah.
very quickly, if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
an indie
This question
developer-
sucks.
No.
That's
Come
not
on,
news.
hurry up.
Fuck off.
If you're an
not
indie
news.
developer, if you're an indie developer and you're working with a publisher, always make sure that you get to maintain your IP rights for your
Very
game.
important.
Yes.
Oh
Very,
yeah,
very
oh
important.
yeah.
That would be a
You
good way
can
to sum it
avoid
up.
Might be easier
whole
said than done, but
Yeah, but
do your best.
Okay.
you know,
Let's move on
I
to the
think
Coles.
it's probably easier nowadays.
Publishers are a problem. Fuck 'em.
Let's move on to the Coles, who have released a Kickstarter for a new Hero U
Agreed.
game. And here's the trailer for it, while I talk about it. It is called Summer Days at Hero U. They have a goal of $99,999 for whatever reason. I don't know why they couldn't just go straight up 100,000, but
It sounds better.
No, it doesn't.
Cheeky.
It literally
Because they
takes
wanted
less
to press
time
the
to say
same key
100,000.
over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
They have an illness.
But anyway,
I think it's fun.
regardless of the dollar difference, they are about halfway to their goal. I'm looking at it right now, and they are at 47,728. They've got 775 backers, and the Kickstarter runs till November 5th.
And despite appearances, it is not a porn dating sim.
Yeah, no, it is not. It is.
Unfortunately.
What porn dating sims are you playing that look like this?
Taking the
There
fifth.
are plenty. There are plenty.
Did I really
Maybe
just
not
ask
exactly
that
like
question
this, but
Yes,
there's
you
not
plenty.
expecting an answer?
Yeah.
How long can I stroke my beard for?
Stop stroking anything.
I don't know.
Have
Let's
you ever
see.
heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the White?
And speaking of Brandon Bloom, he has just been named as the composer for
Yes, he
Hero
has.
for Summer Days.
Yeah,
He
he's
just
nice.
posted that on Twitter. So congratulations to him.
Oh, so it's official now. Yay, cool.
Yes, Rizulka.
Okay, so what I know about this is that next weekend there's going to be a special stream on my channel on the Saturday that
Save it
involves.
till the end. If Francisco saves till the end.
Yeah,
please.
we
No,
got
no,
we got a
this is
whole
specifically
we got
to
a
do
whole
with the
plug
calls.
section.
Specifically to do with the calls, though. But like, what's it called? So this stream that's going to happen. The main thing I wanted to mention was they're actually going to be raffling a whole heap of really cool shit, including a Quest for Glory white box, and several prints and some codes for Major's Initiation and a whole heap of other stuff as well. So it's not just going to be like, hey, we're going to do some voices with this man and that man. No, other way around over there.
Why do you have a man on your ceiling?
Well, that man is Francisco.
For me,
Why do you have Francisco on your ceiling?
Well, he got there
Where do
at
you
one
keep
point
your
and then he just
Francisco?
hung around it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh, hey, did you know Lamplight City is on sale?
Wow.
Sometimes I don't know why I even
you
bother.
got him.
Did you also
But yeah.
know that Space Quest 2 sucks?
Thank
Why,
you.
yes, I did.
Oh!
Oh, you.
Are people who are taking part in the stream also eligible for the raffle?
That's what
I
was
hope
gonna
so
ask.
because I want that white box myself. I do know that they're
Some of
also
those look quite good.
yeah. What's it called? Actually, they're giving you a whole heap of things. So there's going to be a
I'm
Heroes
still
Quest big box tomorrow. That's going to be given away. They're also giving away a Quest for Glory 1 big box that I'm guessing will be signed by the developers because they're the ones
You
that's giving
mean-
it away.
This?
Yes, exactly that one.
I want
No, not that one, trolls. Put it away.
I only
Yeah.
want
This is going to stay on my camera for the rest of this talk
It's
show.
value pricing.
All right, fine. I'm just going to shut your
Yeah.
camera down.
Also, so they're also giving away a Quest for Glory 1 big box on the 19th, although I'm not sure how that's going to take place. It might actually be a follow-up of the Quest for Glory stream that we're doing next weekend. And then they're doing a final stream at the end of the month on October the 26th, where they're going to be giving away the purple box of Quest for Glory 4, and also the Hero U big box as well. And a whole heap of art. A whole shit ton of art.
What
I
I
kind
think-
didn't even realize a Hero Quest
Oh!
box got out.
Syria
Yeah.
is basically
Oh, yeah,
suggesting that trolls and Grundislav have a fight to the death.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the topic for the rest of the show. Stick around.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Can I get your stuff?
How cute they are.
Yeah.
Who's
Maybe
your,
not the baby. I'm not ready.
Who's your second?
No, no, no.
Oh wait,
No.
what?
I
Syria says
tell
there's
you,
a conflict between SQ and
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
such a serious way to
Yeah.
say it.
Can you
almost
show
sounds
that
like a movie
portrait of
trailer.
the Coles again, please?
There's a
Yes.
conflict between
I have-
SQH and
I have
Grundislav.
a.
Let me
I
get a
have
good.
a
Something has
spoiler.
to be done. Like a duel to the
Oh,
doom,
that's awesome.
or any other challenge to settle the matter.
They don't look like that anymore.
No, they
as a
don't
matter
look
of fact-
painted anymore?
Why?
They look like this.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That is
All right.
exactly what they look like.
Moving right
I
along.
want my-
Moving right along to our main topic. No game this time because we got a lot to cover. with this main topic, which actually comes courtesy Trolls. He's the one that first suggested the topic in the Discord.
This is his fault. This is
Yeah,
all his
pretty much,
fault.
essentially.
Well, it's technically Grundislav's fault, but
I mean, technically, YAR is all your fault. YAR is technically your fault anyway.
It's
we
Trolls'
can
fault
assign
that YAR
blame later.
exists. It's RESULKA's fault that YAR hasn't fallen apart.
We can assign blame later.
Yes.
All right. We
I'm
are
here.
going to be talking about the pros, the cons, the good parts, the bad parts,
The what?
whatever, of time in adventure games. And Trolls is switching.
This is what the
pictures.
Coles
Trolls-
look like now.
Trolls
Trolls, we've
is now
moved
the
on.
Coles and Francisco.
Just checking.
We've moved on, dude. Keep up.
Corey has a man in a hat in his torso.
We are talking about the mechanics of time in adventure games,
Right.
and
Timers.
yeah, and timers is one
hate
thing
them.
because there's really so many aspects and facets to this that what I thought we'd do is I've broken it down into different
Come over
aspects,
here,
different
then.
kinds of time
Shit, he came
mechanics,
prepared.
and we can yep, somebody has to, and we can just discuss.
Dropping my spaceman.
She's having problems with her dogs.
Floor.
Meanwhile, we'll go on with time, and let's start with timed puzzles. What do you think of those, first off? And can
Well,
you name
can I-
any
can I-
good or bad
I-
examples?
What I fear
Can I-
is that they came about as a result of the genre kind of going, hey, we're just kind of pointing and clicking on things. What if more arcade a bit? Because many games were arcade at that time, possibly point and click games were a reaction to that. And then they found, oh shit, these aren't selling, let's stick this in instead. Or possibly because of the lack of urgency that you might get in some games. I mean, sure, you can build up to a big old climax, but you could just stand there and stare at the last door beyond which is the big bad, stare at it forever, look at your inventory a bit, listen to a cat meow, whatever. And it might lose some of the tension that way, but if you put a timer in, then you're forcing
Annoying
people
the
to
player.
react. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't mind timers so long as you're not trying to contend with both a timer and bad mechanics. Because speaking of Frogware's Sherlock Holmes games, I recently reviewed one of theirs, The Secret of the Silver Earring, and there's a point where you have to go through not just a maze, but a maze with fixed camera angles, which make it even more confusing to navigate. And when you get to a certain point of the maze, you have a timer, because there's a fire that you have to put out, and you have to go back and find a bucket to fill it with water, and you have to navigate the maze on a time limit.
Oh god.
Timed
no.
mazes are always a down.
Yeah, no.
Always a down.
Mazes. Now you're just
Double negative.
piling shit on top of shit.
No.
Yeah.
Can I preface all of this? Everything I'm going to say from now on, I say knowing full well that if we're going to blame arcade sequences and timer puzzles on anything, it should be Space Quest. Because Space Quest 1 was the first adventure game to have an arcade sequence in it, and Space Quest 4 is basically just timed puzzles, the game. Having said that, they are very, very good games. If I want to point... And you can make all sorts of argument why the skimmer sequence in SQ1 is a pile of shit, and why SQ4 is desperately unfair because all the screens are trying to kill you. And fine, we can have that argument all day long. Let's not do that. Let me just point to an adventure game that actually does a time puzzle right, and then we can start piling the shit on top of the shit.
Right.
Okay.
Beneath the Steel Sky has one moment. Hey, guess what
There's a
game I'm
surprise.
going to bring out? Yeah, Beneath the Steel Sky has one time puzzle in it. It signposts the hell out of it. It's the only time when you're actually in sort of a you're in this tunnel, and the tunnel starts to drop down. The ceiling starts to fall down, and you have a very short time to click the exit on the other side of the room, and that's it. And the game basically tells you to, okay, you should save your game before you walk through this door. And once you're done with it, you're done with it. So a lot of signposting, a lot of that. Now that I think about it, it's actually also kind of a shit. It's not really a puzzle. It's just hey, we tricked you. Now you're gonna die.
You're dying.
Yeah,
Hey, you're
and
dying.
So
in
what
an
I
effort
want
to make
do is
it,
now
not
erase the
unfair, they've
last-
kind of made it
I'm
Pointless.
just gonna erase the last minute and a half from all of your memories and go.
Yeah, it didn't
Where
work.
do I live?
Selfie
What
stick?
were we talking about?
With a selfie stick?
What is this
Yeah,
strange?
the selfie
strange
stick makes you
concoction?
wish you forgot it. No.
Yeah.
So we kind of actually talked about the first two things I had listed both in one go because I had timed arcade events as a separate thing. But do you think there's a major difference between the two?
Yeah.
Timed
major
puzzles and
difference.
timed arcade? What would you say?
Yeah,
it is?
a timed arcade is like the game just switching gears on you, like doing something
Yeah.
completely different. Burger flipping in Space Quest 4,
Yeah,
crest
good
cleaning in
point.
Space Quest 5. I'm sure there are arcade sequences in other games. Yeah, a timed puzzle is basically using adventure game mechanics. It just puts you under time pressure.
Right.
I don't know if it counts as an adventure game, but I think the worst example of timed puzzles in any game I've ever played is the timed door puzzles in like Tomb Raider, where have to, because you have to fight
Right.
with, like you were saying, like fight with the mechanics of the game.
I don't think he brought it up as a positive.
No, that's what I'm agreeing.
Okay.
But they're
That,
like, yeah, in terms of an adventure,
fight.
yeah, you have to fight. But in terms of an adventure game, I'd probably think the worst one of those like switching to arcade ones has to be Operation Stealth. Like, just constantly like you've got ones that you've got to start something the moment it starts, otherwise you'll run out of air by the end of it, and then like the coding of it itself is bad, so
yeah.
you'll have like your head above water and be like, why am I not breathing?
It
Why?
doesn't
Delphine! Delphine!
I hate that shit. I hate it. It makes me mad. No, I can't think of a good
Hey, what are you
example of a
doing?
time puzzle.
Yeah. I have
Gemini,
a
do you
very
have
quick negative example.
Go ahead.
Broken Sword, Goat Puzzle. Continue.
Oh yeah, the gold puzzle.
Elaborate
Gemini,
for
do you
those.
have-
Elaborate for those that might not have seen that.
It's shit. Continue. No,
Yeah.
It's
it's
There's a
you
goat.
have to
It's
do two separate actions.
Oh, the goat puzzle.
In
Okay,
quick
yeah.
success.
I thought you said
Yeah.
gold puzzle.
No. Goat.
No, no,
the
no.
goat puzzle is
The dickhead.
infamous. Yeah, the game.
Dickhead
switches-
Goat,
Dick-
which I
game
think is the
completely
sequel
switches gears.
to Untitled Goose Game.
Right.
Now what generally time puzzles or time mechanics generally are trying to add is tension, because as you were saying, in adventure games you generally don't have a big build up of tension. I know that what's it called, Telltale kind of did that by having the time dialogue responses. And
We'll get to that.
Yeah, you will get to that, and that's pretty much the point that I went, I'm not into this. I'm dropping out of that, because I hate being on the second, because I'm trying to work out what I want to do, what effect it's gonna have, and then it's just you got to do it right now, and I'm like, no, I'm out. I don't need this pressure. But I will mention the one that I think it wasn't it worked on, and it's a hidden object game. Yeah. Yep. Basically, what they did to add tension in hiding, in doing a hidden object scene, was rather than having an overt timer, that basically you were they put you in the dark and you had a flashlight to look around, and then every time that you heard walking noises because you were trying to hide from someone, you had to stop.
Stealth mechanics in an adventure game. So stealth.
In
No,
an
object game.
Stealth mechanics versus trolls. Oh my god.
But it was probably the most not excited that I was talking about, but it was probably the most effective thing that the entire game had done to make me feel something throughout this entire hidden object game, other than what the fuck is this story? Be oh god, this actually is effective. What the fuck? So
I mean,
that's
are
a
hidden
timing
objects allowed to have good stories? I thought that was a
Or
rule
gameplay.
that they couldn't.
yeah, we haven't
Lost
got to the
Lands.
ones that I actually considered a
Lost
good.
Lands has story. There's
Why
pretty
didn't
good-
we start
has
with
story. Because you said you wanted to go halfway between crack and good.
I did say that. Yeah.
You did,
That-
yeah.
That is on me. I
Yeah.
think we've leaned
We
more
haven't
towards
we haven't
crack.
even got full. Yeah.
Okay,
We haven't even
further
gotten
trying
towards
to
crack.
erase my
Yeah.
faux pas from earlier. Can we think of a good example of a time puzzle in an adventure game where you go, this is actually fun. I'm actually having fun doing this. Not an arcade sequence, not just
Does the entirety
Puzzles.
of
fire an example.
the Last Express count?
Last Express is its own category we'll get into later.
Okay. Go.
Yeah, because that's the sort of insidious timer. It kind of falls in the same category as Dark Sea.
In fact, let's go ahead and move
Later.
on to that, because the next one I've got
Wait,
is...
No.
wait.
No.
I haven't
Wait.
said anything.
Wait, Francisco's
He's been
surrendering.
sitting on
What?
his hands this entire time. Good boy.
I've been,
What?
yes, I've been seeding
He's
the
been a
floor
good
to
boy.
dear trolls, so we don't get
It's
into.
like he's never been to one of these
tip.
before.
Well, let me tell you a little something.
Oh shit!
They
Oh
suck.
no. The glasses
suck.
are on.
And they have
Yeah.
no place in adventure games. And I will give you 2 examples from personal experience where I learned my lesson as to why timed puzzles are not a good idea. And they are from a little game that I made called Golden Wake. And for those of you who have not played a Golden Wake, there is a sequence fairly late in the
hasn't?
game. It's mean people who don't want me to live.
Don't you make more money from Lamplight City, which is on sale right
There
now?
in front of me the entire time.
Actually, no. I technically I make more money from a Golden Wake if it sells.
Go-
But anyway, let's
ahead.
not get into that.
All right, okay.
So there's a puzzle in a Golden Wake in which you visit a bakery, and through a wacky series of hijinks, you end
Oh,
up
that one!
held at gunpoint by the sweet old lady who runs the bakery shop. And of course, being a dumb designer, I decided that it would be a good time to put in a timer because you're held at gunpoint. So of course, it's a timed puzzle, whatever. Now the
It's only a
problem
matter
with
of time
that,
before the gun goes off.
exactly. Well, it's only a
Science.
matter. She
Guns
says,
go,
like,
once you point them at people, they go off.
well, she says, I'll give you to the count of 10 to get out of my store. And
that would be
so
10
it's
cycles in AGS.
It's a dumb Home Alone
What
reference.
did you want?
Whatever. Anyway, the solution to the puzzle is you have to interact with the environment. There's a bag of flour that you have to click, which the player then grabs and throws on the ground, and then creates a cloud of smoke, and then you can escape. The problem is that the game's on a timer, and the way I designed it was that if you clicked on anything that, well, one, the timer's running out on its own, so if you just stand there, she shoots
She
you.
blows the load.
She. Yes, she does.
That's the way you chose to go with this. No,
Yeah.
she shoots the dude.
Yeah.
Not she fires the gun.
She
The
follows
penis
through on it.
reference.
Indeed.
You did the penis reference.
Of all the times!
Almost as if
Of all
we
the
it was deliberate.
Of all the fucking times!
Why am I taking the
Anyway.
high ground on this?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you- The problem with that is that
The problem with penis.
the problem. Well, let's not get into
Sorry.
that.
We could go on about that.
Alright.
So if you try to click on the doors to escape before you've distracted her, the timer automatically counts down to 0 and she shoots you. You can interact with all the other objects in the room, but the problem is, as I found out happened with a few people who played it, is that if you click on something but you happen to click just at the moment that the timer runs out, it sends the false message that that was not the right thing to click because you think I clicked on this thing and yet I still get shot. So a lot of people didn't realize that they were clicking on the right thing. So that in and of itself is the problem with having timed things. I do agree, I understand the logic behind it and I support the idea of adding tension, but I think that having a timer that runs out unless it's very clearly signposted is generally a bad idea. I think it's a lot more kind to the player if you do it in, like, say, a series of moves. Like, if you don't complete what you have to do within, say, 5 or 10 actions, then the timer runs out. Because, like, you have a game like Freddy Farkas where you're not really given a super clear indication of what you have to do most of the time. And if you're just walking around town exploring, trying to figure out how to solve the imminent threat, the timer will eventually run out, and unless you saved, you're screwed because then
Yeah.
the timer ran out.
Is
And the
it
other
a
thing,
global timer? Like a
yeah,
for the
it
whole
starts.
game?
It's it's for each
Oh.
situation.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I think
I've
we're going to
never
get to
played it.
world
I
timers are
played it,
their
but I
own
never got to-
category, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, that's
Actually,
the next
yeah.
thing I got listed here. We got
But then
world time. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to quickly say also the other thing that I learned my lesson of, which I've actually patched, but I don't think it's been uploaded yet. So nag Dave Gilbert if you can. The airplane, the air show sequence, which was not an arcade sequence. It was designed as a puzzle with arcade elements, but the mistake I made there was that when the little red X flashes to indicate where you have to go to for the airplane to swoop in, I would start the timer at that point, and a lot of times people would click, and when the plane came in, it was a blocking action, and that would disable the UI, so people would click madly to move the car, but they couldn't because the plane was coming. So
I ran into that.
Yeah, so I changed it and I updated it so that the plane comes in as a non-blocking and the timer doesn't start until you're more or less in position, to make it a lot easier and more user-friendly. So don't use timers for puzzles.
Well, here's an addendum.
If done right, they can be very effective.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
is because the main complaint we have with timers is the timers equals dead ends or deaths. And a lot of times that's Sierra's fault. Once the timer runs out, you're dead. Space Quest 4 is full of that. You can make a timed puzzle where the only punishment is that either you get locked out of a certain path or a certain thing that you can accomplish, or you just have to start over. Like distraction puzzles work a lot like that. You distract some dude and he fucks off somewhere, and you got a timer of say a minute and a half before he comes back, and you're supposed to nick shit before he comes back. Monkey Island 2 has this very innocent timer puzzle where you sent the what the fuck? He's not a blacksmith. He's a carpenter. Yeah, off he fucks to I don't know, masturbate this dude's peg leg or whatever. And he comes back after a certain time, but you have plenty of time to steal his shit and then fuck off.
I think that's
no one says a word about that one.
Part. I think
you played a pirated copy.
Plenty of time. I think that it should give you a sense of stress, but not an actual
stress. Yeah.
Stress.
Well,
oh, I have to hurry and do this, but not like I have to do pixel perfect clicks in order to get this puzzle solved. Like I don't
remembered
die in order to do it.
Yeah.
I just remembered I had a time puzzle in Ben Jordan Case 3 where you're held at tranquilizer gunpoint by a sheriff, and if you take too long...
Why does everyone hold you at gunpoint in your games?
Because it's a cheap way to make tension. I don't know. Anyway,
and then in Shardlight, everyone's held at sword point instead. Yeah.
No, there's another old lady with a shotgun in that game. But anyway, if you if you fail the time puzzle, you just get put into the path to one ending. If you solve, or if you do the right thing, then you go into the path to the right ending. So you don't get
I think that's
necessarily
all right.
punished.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It just
branches
leads
the story
to a different experience. I'm totally fine with that. I think that could be utilized really interestingly in a video game where maybe you want to check out that other, so you fail on purpose or whatever. Like, I think that's valid.
It has to be signposted because it needs to be obvious that if you don't do this quickly enough, then you get locked out of something. A lot of games do this really weird thing where they just go, oh, by the way, didn't you know you had to be fast? Surprise, motherfucker! You now have to play through the entire game again to get the real ending.
That leads us into world timers and what I had down here as what I've been calling it up till now, real time. But Summer actually posted a video about this topic, which uses a term that I kind of like better, and it's called clockwork time, which that seems to fit better. Because real-time games usually aren't real-time. But we mentioned The Last Express, and that was not really a good experience for me, because I think that was probably my first experience with real-time games, and I didn't know it was a real-time game. So, yeah.
I get paralyzed. I get so stressed out I get paralyzed, because I have massive fear of missing out. I have massive FOMO.
I can only imagine that with The Last Express, it was more readily advertised as a clockwork game with that real-time aspect when it came out. Whereas it comes to GOG, everyone's like, oh, y'all know this. You know why you're here.
Yeah, I think that it needs to be signposted. I think you have to be aware that there is a global timer. My prime example for this, a global timer, or whatever you want to call it.
Hang on. It's not a global timer per se. Global timers is a different thing, like win the game in 30 minutes or die kind of thing. That's a global
that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. I think that's what I'm talking about.
Events in the game happening in real time is not the same as a world timer. You've got games that are on a world timer, like Lisa Suit Larry 1.
Yeah.
Or
I mean-
Darkseid.
But yeah, and dark. But
What I was
events-
talking about are like world
Sorry.
timer.
Well, yeah, I've
But,
kind of lumped them into the same thing: world timers and
they're
real
two
time.
different things, but they kind of
They're like two sides of
like-
the same coin.
like.
But I think
Go
my
ahead,
examples
go
are
ahead,
not
Rezulka.
adventure games.
Okay, go.
I was just going to be like, in terms of like, say, like The Last Express, or like other games that kind of like, I'm going to say Blade Runner as well. That I think there's also another one, I can't think of the name of it. But basically, like the whole idea of it is that it's kind of like emergent gaming. So you might not always see the same path. You might go and see something else. So they're not necessarily like I haven't finished Last Express. But basically, the whole idea to me seems that it's kind of like, well, you've got multiple ways of, worming your way through it, and you see different things
But-
each time.
Isn't that how the Laura
Depending on how you
Bow games work too? They like you have to see
No,
hours
so-
specific times.
Okay, I'm going to be a total smartass here and say that Blade Runner and Laura Bow, at least the Colonel's Request, works. It creates the illusion of being a clockwork game, but it really isn't. It's a lot of triggers. And
Yeah, I don't think
sometimes
Blade
you
Runner
can
had
advance
any of that at
beyond.
all.
You can
I
skip
always-
triggers.
I think Blade
Yeah.
Runner, the marketing said, "Oh, characters follow their own agendas and you can whatever," but
Yeah.
And they didn't
I always
really
found that
have
stressful,
any of
so
that.
I've never actually played through.
Guess who does follow his own agenda? Rat Pouch from Lure of the Temptress.
Yes.
Oh, the virtual theater system, which did not work as intended. All it did was cockblock you. But technically,
Siriar brings up
they-
some examples of world timers: Quest for Glory and Rise of the Dragon. Does
See,
anybody play
Quest
those?
for Glory
is
too.
Oh,
pretty-
I
see,
know you
no,
did.
see,
Quest for
Rise
Glory
of
2 is
Rise of the
pretty-
Dragon, you have control of the clock. It's kind of the same thing as what's it called? The Dame
Blade
is
Runner.
loaded.
Oh,
The Dame is loaded. That basically that
Also
yes,
on
as much
sale.
as much as your actions cause time to go on, you've got control to say let's skip some time. Like I've seen a playthrough of Rise of the Dragon where they had so efficiently played that by the time they have to wait for a certain day, so basically they end up sleeping 2 days.
Dude
just
just
in a
goes
row.
to bed and just
Yeah.
hibernates.
Like what's it
Well,
called? So he's so basically it's 2 days of this guy standing in his room just continually changing his clock and then going like, oh man, I'm beat, I'm gonna have sleep now, and then wake up and do the same thing again. Oh man, I'm beat, I'm gonna have a sleep now.
I'm going to have
It's like you
sleep
haven't
now.
done anything. I like that. What's it called? I think the LP I saw of it that basically that at the end of the day too, someone just went, are you depressed? You spent 2 days in your house doing nothing.
We've
That
been
happens
there.
in
We've
Quest
all
for
been
Glory
there.
too,
Yeah.
also. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Quest
what I
for
was gonna
Glory
say.
2
That's usually wind
yeah.
up. That's
Go
how
ahead,
I usually have to play Quest for Glory 2 because you get the thing done in like the first day if you know how to do it, and then you've got days to wait until the next. That's like probably my biggest complaint about Quest for Glory 2 is like it's too much time and also kind of not enough time sometimes.
If you're a first time
6
player,
a.m. time to
If
go
you're a
stare at the
first-time
blacksmith
player,
for 4 hours.
It's kind of tight.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing and you've played it before, you've got all this free time and there's not a whole lot of things like in the other Quest for Glory games you can you train your skills in a lot of specific ways, but there's not a whole lot of that. Like you could go and fight at the guild, or you can go out to the desert and look for things to fight, and that's not great because they don't have a lot of guys out in the desert to fight. Like you have to go back and forth from screen to screen to screen to screen to screen for hours waiting for something to show up to fight. I don't like
Waiting
it.
for Godot.
Makes me
Quest for
frustrated.
Glory style.
Yeah,
The
it
way
makes
I
me
usually
frustrated.
play Quest for Glory 2 is, I'll beat the elemental and then I'll just go and fight Uhura in the guild and then go to the hotel and sleep and then come back and fight some more and then go sleep and then do that for like 3 days.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, The Last Express I think is kind of an outlier because you can rewind time in that game. So, just like Life is Strange,
Interesting.
which I haven't played, but it kind of
Yeah.
calls
just
into
like it.
question. Well, it has the
Exactly.
rewinding
Emo dialogue and everything.
which kind of calls into question the idea of using a timer in the first place, because if you can just go
Yeah.
back and correct
Yeah,
your
it's-
mistakes,
It kind of undoes that.
interesting. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Siriar
It's-
seems to have a similar example. Says Murders in Space from Infogrames. There's a timer, but you can completely halt, then take time to do what you need to do, and then when you've finished, reactivate the time flow again and choose the speed of the timer.
which
Interesting.
also
I
is
don't
like,
know.
why
Yeah, I
would
don't
you
know.
put a
Yeah,
timer
again,
in there
kind
in the
of
first
ruins
place?
the point of real time.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next.
Well, what I would
wait,
ask,
world timers.
just
World
quickly,
timers.
wait.
Two things
All
I
right,
want to
real,
talk about.
trolls. Last word, real
You go
quick.
first.
Damn it!
Oh, dang! Oh, I won. Okay,
Aw.
so world timers. Let's be okay. I want to have a specific example of a world timer game, and one.
Doxy.
They sort of fell out of favor, mainly because it turns out that they're really
Mega
horrible.
Traveler 2.
Future Wars.
Elsinore,
Oh,
what are we talking about?
Mega Traveler 2 is a good example of a world timer. It shows
all right,
you
let's-
visual
Okay,
experience
Trolls is
of a
speaking.
world timer.
Oh yes,
has the
I'm
conch.
speaking. Future Wars was a horrible, lovely-looking game that basically didn't tell you were on a world timer until it was way too late. But then
Like
again, people may not have
Realms of
played
Arcania.
Is
Future
there a world
Wars.
timer
I mean,
then?
Delphine. Who knows about Delphine? But then you've got fucking what's it? No, it's not called Conspiracy. It's called shit. That
KGB?
Access Software game.
KGB.
The Access.
No.
No. The Access
No?
Software
Access
game.
Software.
Oh.
Where you're in a mental asylum at the start and you have
I
to
don't know.
escape.
Sanitarium?
Crackdown? Countdown?
Countdown,
look-
that's the
oh,
one.
there.
Countdown, there we go.
Countdown's on
Yeah.
a very strict timer, by the way. I think you have like 2 or 3 hours to beat the entire game or the world blows up.
Well, what's
And-
it called? Darkseid is only 3 hours, and then the alien will blow out of your brain.
There's
Oh, I
also
forgot,
D.
Darkseid is also on a world timer. It's not just a clockwork game, it's also
Okay.
on a world timer. I didn't know that.
Going to move on to the next aspect, and that is let me see what we got.
have to finish in
Dialogue
an hour.
timers. Now I ask you, what kind of an asshole would put that shit in their games? I mean, seriously, Francisco, you had something you wanted to say?
What kind of asshole Floridian
Hurry up, you got 5 seconds.
like adventure
That asshole grows up in Seattle and doesn't know how to swim. Wait, that's War Games. Sorry.
I want to preface my answer by saying
You have 5 seconds. Go.
No. See, that's what my
I got all
preface
the
is.
time.
If you do dialogue timers where you get very little time and you get punished for not answering on time, that's crap. I agree that that's crap. I agree you shouldn't do that. I agree that that's a bad idea. Now, I posted my thing about Rosewater having timed dialogues, and Trolls was like, no!
I
And was
believe I
like,
tweeted him an
"Trolls."
image of pitchforks.
I was like, Trolls, give me the benefit of the doubt. I want to say, and I don't want to spoil this by saying, I mean, I'll try and not to spoil too much, but the whole reason I even experimented with having time, or seeing if timed dialogues were possible in AGS, was because I wanted to have a sing-along sequence, right?
Ah!
So that you know you've got some people singing, and if you want, you can jump in and add your lyrics, like a call and response kind of thing. And if you take too long, rather than have the music just sort of awkwardly loop and wait for you to input, if you
Everybody's
didn't
on the
do
stage
it-
going.
yeah, exactly. Then the song would just continue without your input, as if someone else would answer. That was
I think that's
the initial reason I did it, for fun. But then I thought, oh well, there's other situations where I could actually put this in, and it's funny because I played through Assassin's Creed Odyssey recently, and they basically did the two things that I wanted to do.
Right.
One of the things that Assassin's Creed Odyssey did, which is very similar to something I want to do, was there's a mission where you have to there's this little accomplice of yours, and she's like, oh, this guy in this house, he's like, I don't know, you have to like steal something from his house or get crap from his house, and she tells you, she's like, oh, I overheard him talking and he said this and this and this. So she gives you 3 facts that you're supposed to remember. And then when you go and confront him, he's like, oh, who are you? And you say to him, you can like repeat back what she said and you're supposed to remember. And you have to do the 3 things, and it's on a timer. And if you get it wrong, or if the timer runs out, then he's like, oh, get out of my house. But in the meantime, you see her like sneaking around, like stealing the stuff from him. So if you get it wrong on the first try, she still gets the essential quest item that you need. So even if you just sit there and you fail, you still get what you need and you
So
proceed.
It's not it's more of a flavor thing.
Exactly.
It's
If you extend it and you allow the conversation to go, she steals more things and you get like little bonus stuff. So I was like, this is what I want to do. Like at the heart of it, if you get it wrong completely, then you still have the bare minimum, but you get extra experience if you pass the timer challenge.
Yeah,
so to
it's a
speak.
reward for solving the puzzle rather than a
Than
punishment, for not solving it.
the puzzle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I
Exactly.
just
I
point out
suppose
the
we
way
can
that
forgive you then.
the way that Francisco showed this to the world was by demonstrating an animated
A
GIF
very
of
yeah.
a
Well,
person being held at gunpoint. Now, I have to come back.
I will. I
Francisco,
will.
Oh,
This
is
is
the
something you wanna
gunpoint
discuss
o'clock
with us?
already?
So can I bring up a game that?
He's gone.
Oh Jesus!
My turn. So dialogue timers. I'm
Yeah.
going to bring up the obvious one.
I don't know
Telltale
what you're talking
games.
about, man. But I'll tell you.
Oh no.
So Oxenfree.
Put it down! Put it down, damn
I
it!
mean, this is
Put
how
it
we have
down!
conversations all the time. So I don't know what the problem is. Also, why do I have
I
a
will
finger on-
admit that the animated GIF that I put was a very fast timer counting down. But to be fair, would you have sat there and watched an animated GIF of a 1 minute timer going?
Yes.
Maybe.
If it's from
Well.
you.
Some people are entertained by anything.
So while IKIFOO composes himself, which is apparently what he's doing right now, I just want to bring up Oxenfree because that is a game that got universal appeal, and it is mainly it's mainly dialogue timers the game.
Oxenfree's kind of got its own little place in this list, which we'll get to, but go ahead.
All right, so briefly, well, the time dialogues anyway. It's basically just walking around and then you engage in dialogues. And the thing I really hate about time dialogues is, as I mentioned in that Twitter hate-filled storm that I threw at Francisco, is that not only are you on a timer and you're stressed out, you also have to read what options are given to you. You have to comprehend them. You have to weigh them against each other, and then you have to make an informed decision.
Yeah,
all
and
the
it does
while
not give
a
you
clock is ticking
enough
down.
time to do it.
And Oxenfree,
Usually,
while
anyway.
it does not give you a lot of time, at least it gives you like really concise speech bubbles that basically are just like 2 or 3 words that go either "fuck you" or "I love you very much." Like
Yeah.
really polar opposites.
It
And
like
then you have
basically
the
gives
option
you
to
just
shut
enough
it
time to go, oh, there's dialogue options on the screen. Before you can click one, boom, they're gone.
down. Yeah.
And the characters are going, well, fuck you if you're going to ignore me.
Yeah,
But
what I liked about Oxenfree was that it gave you a trophy for like playing through the whole game without saying anything.
Is that the
That's-
Gordon
that's the
Freeman
thing.
trophy?
Yeah,
Chrono trophy?
It should have been.
Oxenfree keeps that's what I wanted to praise about Oxenfree, is that it keeps going regardless of what you do. There's no failure for completing or for not picking a dialogue option in time. In
Right.
fact, everything you pick is valid. There's no wrong thing to say during the entire game. As opposed to what the pitfall Telltale went into, which was here's a cutscene. We've got lots of camera angles, voice acting, people are doing things. There's action sequences and QTEs, and by the way, you have 3 seconds to pick your next line, and it's like 3 paragraphs. Get fucked.
I mean, I have played a number of Telltale games, and I really think their dialogue timers were pretty generous in that regard. There may have been a couple that were heavily truncated for the sake of drama, but
my Chiquita
2
bare
points.
face.
Like, so I think the timers were pretty generous. And the other point I was going to make, and one they kept bringing up, was that silence was a valid option. Like, not saying anything was not necessarily a fail. It was an option. It was just another response
It felt
you
like
could
a
make.
fail. It felt.
I think the only
what was-
Telltale game I played was one of the Sam and Max
Tales
ones,
from
and I
the
can't remember if there were dialogue timers in that. Were there?
Oh, there weren't.
No.
There weren't.
Yeah.
Most
started
of my
with The Walking
experience is Walking Dead. Game of Thrones I've pretty much just blocked out for the, so I don't depress myself.
No, but I saw the first episode of Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale game, and the dialogue options in that game, at least in the introduction, the first bit of the first episode, felt a lot like silence was a fail state, not a "I'll kill you" fail state,
Right.
But oh, I see you don't want to play my little game. Eh?
Oh, I see. You're very
Maybe
dumb.
so. I've not played that one, so I
it's
can.
Right.
Bummer
attest.
to feel that way. When a game makes you feel like being silent should be a choice that you can make, and is not necessarily the game punishing you for being silent. I think that you should be able to.
And it has, and also the Oxenfree, again, is a lot of walking, so there's a lot of dialogue to fill that space. You're not occupied with anything else. In Telltale, the dialogue timers were, like, constant for no goddamn reason. Two people are having a nice, quiet conversation. The world is going on around them. There's no hurry whatsoever, but you have 30 seconds to make this choice. Or
Yeah, no, if
Plus,
you overdo it and
don't
you...
the dialogue choices start popping up while somebody else is still talking?
Yeah, that too. That creeps me the fuck out.
But that's also a BioWare thing.
Yeah, but
Mass Effect.
BioWare don't have
Yeah.
dialogue timers though. But
Yeah.
you're still trying to listen to and
Same.
process what this person is saying, and the game's going, hey, pick something, pick something, pick something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
learning
It's
the
not-
wrong lesson there or not fitting it into their own context.
Yeah.
It's not timer based.
I will say I have now that Francisco has unveiled his dark motivations for doing
machinations.
this. By the way, I love the way how you said that. Oh, I just wanted it for the sing along, but once I summoned
excited.
Satan, I might as well summon to destroy the world.
Yeah.
But
I figured
Summon
if there's at
Satan,
least-
sing
there's at
along. I mean, the
least
keys
one
are like
other
right next to
place.
each other.
There's at least one other place I can use it. It's not like I've suddenly gone mad with power and I'm like, every dialogue choice will be timed now. So,
Well, we don't want you to spoil too much.
also there's a word timer.
But
And now it's a parser as well. You have to type it in.
well,
There's a sliding block puzzle too.
I played the Crimson
Timed.
Diamond demo, and
It's-
parsers ain't that bad. They can be done good. But anyway, Oxenfree, going back to that.
It's now what's it called? Typing of the Dead,
Yeah.
Rosewater Edition.
Oxenfree leads nicely
Take my
into
money.
the next section I've got.
I want it.
Let's talk about
I think one
time
game
loops.
that- I just wanted to say briefly one game that I think did timers like as far as like for important choices fairly well, and also because it only gave you the choice between like usually one or two or three things was Dreamfall Chapters, because it also really told you this choice is going to affect the balance, and it went and
Yeah,
then,
but it also
they-
like if you hovered over things, it would give you the internal monologue of the person speaking. So it was kind of like you have an indication of what they're gonna say. It wasn't like
Wouldn't
you were
it
gonna
slow
say something
down?
and then something would be like blah, 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 and be like, that's not what I clicked.
Wouldn't it slow down the timer
my
a little
God.
bit when it would do
Mass
that?
Effect
Yeah,
is
you
terrible about that
slowed the
shit.
timer down.
Yeah.
I have a question. Can I ask a question? Please?
Glass
Yeah.
him.
Quick.
You
You
just
just
said
did.
When I dipped out of Telltale
quick
games, that's all I'm
question.
going to say.
Quick question. Okay, the whole point of having dialogue timers, I assume, in Oxenfree, Telltale, and whatever, is because we want the dialogue in adventure games to flow more naturally. You don't have
Yes.
long pauses in natural conversation. Here's my question. Are we really this afraid of dead air? And is it really such a suspension of disbelief that a player will weigh their options and responses before they initiate the next part of the conversation? For some reason, what you just said, it just flashed me to the thing from Dreamfall Chapters, the balance thing. This is going to affect the rest of the game. Blah. Life is Strange did this thing where every time there's like a really crucial decision, time would literally freeze. The screen turns blood red, and there are two options bulging out at you, going, pick one or the other.
Well, that works in that game because it's about time manipulation, so that makes
yeah.
sense.
Still.
But yeah. Anyway, what was your question?
Well, my question
He
is,
just asked.
is it really?
Are we
is
afraid?
it really that
Oh.
big of a deal? Is it that big of a break in immersion that
No.
there's a dialogue
I mean,
tree?
dialogue
people are gonna
is
stare at
pretty.
each other?
In adventure games, dialogue is pretty stilted anyway. Half because of how it's put together with separate voice clips, and half because, well, it'd be pretty awkward to skip lines otherwise.
And I mean, for some people like me, I usually read and process choices quickly anyway, so I don't even need a dialogue timer there.
Oh, you went to school.
Well, something Red Star 081 said in the chat is for people who are bad at reading,
Yeah.
or they read
Yeah,
slower,
I
or
think that
hashtag second language. For
I think
that
it's
Or
reference.
planning out their long game.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to like expect people to react in a really short like amount of time.
Yeah,
when
at the
you
very least,
have,
extended
you know,
timers option.
Trouble like processing audio.
Oh yeah, like accessibility.
yeah,
click it in
there's
there.
an accessibility issue there, and I think that you should be able to at least toggle a dialogue timer. I think that would be something that would be reasonable.
I won't shoot you that quickly. I'll just wait. Hang
Flower to
on.
the face.
Whoops.
No. Icky, what you're specifically doing is a quick time event.
By the way, check this out. Check out if Martian Memorandum ran on a
I
dialogue
swear
timer.
I thought that chick had snot coming out of her nose.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
yeah, she does, but
Look at the fuck.
Pointer
Look how
shaped
long
boogers.
these responses are.
You
It
wouldn't.
is-
You would be a bastard to put a dialogue timer on that. If you're gonna have extended, I mean, the solution if you're gonna do it is to have extended timers and have clear, concise options of what you're gonna say.
bite size.
What
Yes.
icons? Salmon Max icons.
Okay.
Like,
Icons.
And
question.
not have
Moving
the
on.
text
Moving
on.
completely
No,
different
no,
from the
sorry.
dialogue you actually say. I'm done.
Time loops. And getting back to
Elsinore.
Oxenfree. Shut up. Getting
Oh, is that what?
Don't you mean
Oxenfree-
Elsinore?
Yeah.
Getting back to
No, I do not.
Shut up.
Wait, don't
Yeah,
you mean
Oxenfree.
Elsinore? Shut up. Elsinore, shut up. Elsinore, shut up.
Yeah,
You wanna get
Oxenfree ended in a time loop. The whole thing.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't.
Spoilers.
It looked-
Spoilers.
The game's been out for
Spoilers
years.
an
I'm
old
sorry,
game.
but
It's fine.
yeah, that is another reason I got annoyed with the dialogue timers, in particular in Oxenfree, because all the tension was essentially for nothing. Because
See, but
you get
Oxenfree
to
did
the
something
end,
really cool
and
with their time loop and their new game plus, which was that they offered you. I'm sorry, Gemini. I didn't mean.
yeah, you get to the end and realize that everything's starting over. They're trapped in a time loop, so I mean, yeah, on the one hand, it's okay, cool, I can try different options now, but on the other hand, which is the way I felt like it because I didn't see it coming, my first reaction was, so what was the point of all that? They're just going to start over anyway. My time was literally wasted with Oxenfree.
Well,
You
you know,
should-
what's
you
the
should
point of
feel
anything?
So what at the end of a game is
You
like
can-
the worst way to end a game.
Yeah.
But you can
What?
close
Okay.
the loop in subsequent playthroughs with your new dialogue options.
That's cool.
Oh, is there a true?
Then again, not much point in having the timers on the second time round.
Yeah.
First
I
time round,
think-
they may build drama.
True.
I think you could easily make Oxenfree without the dialogue timers. You could easily make it so that characters could fast travel places, and then you'd have the traditional adventure game. Here's a list of topics, and just have a normal conversation.
Yeah, but then it would
normal
last
adventure game
like
conversation.
an hour.
Yeah,
And what's wrong with
that's-
that? As long as it tells a
and-
good
and
story
also-
and you had a good time with it.
And I would agree with that. The reason why they did it in Oxenfree is the whole, we want our dialogue to flow naturally. They had the actors actually in the same room recording the dialogue, the subtitles kind of speed along because these are actually people having real conversations. You can't
Yeah.
skip any dialogue as a result and all of that bullcrap. And yeah, it works. Is it gameplay? Well, jury's out on that one.
Also, you could just fast forward the dialogue to,
Oh, yeah.
get the skipping in there.
I mean, as long as, again, we go back to signposting, as long as I know what I'm getting into, I know there's going to be a time loop involved, like, hell, for lack of a better example, Majora's Mask, that kind of thing, where the time loop is up front, a major part of the gameplay, then it's fine, but, yeah, like I said, Oxenfree just left me going, okay, so why was I even bothering with this?
Now, when you say time loop, you're talking about games that when they end, you're basically back to square one. In some cases, even in Oxenfree, you're literally starting over.
Yeah, and trying to find a
the
way
exact-
out of the loop, maybe, but yeah, you're basically going through the same series of events over and over.
So Undertale is a time loop game. Boy, the
Cool.
deafening silence on that one.
I can see that. Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
here cares about Undertale.
Maybe
I
that's
love
it.
Undertale. Are
I
you
didn't
kidding
play
me?
it.
Yeah.
It's an
Shit out of
amazing game.
Undertale. I could never play it, but I love it.
I
Um,
thoroughly enjoy Undertale. I was actually thinking about replaying it recently because I miss it.
Because
Delta Rune
Undertale
was
does
great
that.
too.
Yeah,
Right.
Undertale does that whole meta thing where the spoiler, not spoiler, I guess. You
It's
kind
fine.
of realize at the end that you are not the character you named at the start. You are in fact a player character who is in this game and has control over the game world's life. And so when you restart a game, you are literally restarting the world. Everyone goes back to where they started, and the whole thing goes. It's not just restarting a game. The whole game goes back to square one. And certain
And
characters you meet
they
along the way know
Remember,
this.
yeah, they
and
remember that.
what
I
you
think
do.
that's cool. I think that's a cool
Yeah.
approach.
And I guess like, Doki Doki Literature Club is a time loop game.
It
In the worst way possible.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
would you
I
then
think that
come
it's interesting.
Yeah, would you then count Else Point Break? What Else Heartbreak? What? There's that
Else
coding
Heartbreak.
game.
Else Heartbreak.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never got far in that. I really
No,
wanted to
neither
get
did
far in
I.
that.
I bought it after I saw you play it, and then I got as far as you did, and then I went, But
And I
you
lost
do,
interest, sadly.
yeah. I just
I got
couldn't be
very
bothered doing the.
sidetracked.
I could not be bothered doing the coding side of it.
Right.
I never got to the coding part. I was actually sitting there doing YouTube videos, going, "When do I get to the actual coding part so I can?"
Oh, you can do it from the beginning. You just start editing it. Yeah.
I just went to people's houses and stole their beer, and
Yeah,
that was
that's
all
pretty much
did
what
in
I-
that game.
I went to a
Then
party.
you
I got
started
drunk.
the game.
Sounds like
And
good
of course,
time.
Iki brought up Elsinore, which
I did.
came out recently, and of course that's famously has a time loop mechanic in it.
Yes,
But
but
the whole it's not just a mechanic; it's the entire point of the entire thing.
yeah, you
So it's a
are
major
trapped in a
mechanic.
time loop, and you
Yeah.
find this out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the point is to get out of the time loop. But within that loop, there's actually a lot to do. Part of the enjoyment I found from that was going in and seeing what I could do, like seeing what I could find out, what quests that would lead to.
Who we
and
could
how
piss
you
off.
who you could piss off, who you could drive into the furthest depths of despair. And
Yeah,
I'm
who
not
is
even
gonna commit
kidding. You
suicide?
can,
Yeah.
you can drive. Well, I wasn't going to say drive people to suicide. I think it's maybe
Couple
inaccurate, but certainly you can drive them into such despair that you can't talk to them or make them do anything
You're a
for the rest
monster.
of that loop. And
You can
then
break
that
what's it
despair-
called, Hamlet,
was
though.
Oh, that's not hard. I mean, come on.
Sarah says, "I never experienced a situation where time loop annoyed me."
I
cool.
love from a narrative standpoint, I love time loops. I think everyone who grew up watching Groundhog Day, as terribly
ever see
flawed that
Russian
movie
Doll?
is.
Oh God, I love Russian Doll.
Russian
Oh,
Doll.
Russian Doll,
the
yes!
best.
The-
We
I
need
like
to add that to the
Russian
list,
Doll.
Gordon.
Oh, fuck
I'm,
yeah.
I'm,
I like
I'm adding it
Russian
now.
Doll
I'm
more
adding it
than
now.
Groundhog's
Okay.
Day, personally.
God damn!
I think it's
yes,
a better
that is
approach to a time loop sort of situation. Maybe I'm, that's a controversial opinion, but I feel like I
no.
like that. I like it better than Groundhog.
Oh no! It's
Oh,
way
yeah,
better.
Russian
Groundhog
Doll's
Day is a
amazing,
massively flawed movie. It's just because
Yeah.
everyone thinks it's the first movie to ever do a time loop.
I think that I think that Russian Doll is probably the best approach to a time loop I think I've ever seen.
Russian
in
Doll is
any media.
fantastic.
And they're gonna do a season
yeah.
2, Pete. They're
I
gonna
know,
do a
I'm
season
excited.
2.
I'm really
Also,
excited.
run off and watch the movie Triangle, which is a really stupid name for a movie that fucks with time in ways you would not believe. Just absolutely bends it over the desk.
Also,
it's a fantastic movie.
strangely, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be a good movie. Happy Death Day. Really good
Oh.
time loop movie. Honest,
I'm gonna-
not a joke. Honestly, I swear to God, it's a really good
Yeah, I
time
saw
loop movie.
I saw the trailer and I was like, oh yeah, that looks interesting. Although at the same
really
time, I was
good,
like,
actually.
I feel like I've seen the whole movie now.
horribly Photoshop horribly Photoshop poster for that on the subway, and I was like, this looks terrible. And then I read the
It does
Wikipedia
look
plot
really
summary,
bad.
and I was like, this actually sounds good.
It's actually a really good movie. Like,
And they made a sequel
weirdly,
too.
The
Bringing it-
sequel's
bringing
okay.
it back to games.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna
bad.
say we need more time loops in games. Life is Strange did this thing with like minuscule time loops. It's almost like a Super Mario game. You get to levels in Life is Strange. You get to this little pocket of shit, and then you can rewind time as much as you like. But once you
Yeah.
hit that trigger, you move on to the next pocket of shit.
So like Braid.
I think my
Yeah,
main
kinda
problem
like
with time loops is Oxenfree. I think I'm trying to.
You just hate Oxenfree.
Well, I mean that's it. 'cause
Oxenfree.
the thing is,
Inside.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've played any other game that involves a time loop. So Oxenfree was my first experience with it, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. So I guess
Well, I
just
brought up
kind of
Russian
wary
Doll
of the
because
whole
I would
concept.
love to have a game
Oh
like
yeah.
Russian Doll. I think that would be a really cool experience in a game where you're trying to
Sarah
solve
has a
wire
question.
and
I
time loops.
If an action takes many minutes to be done, does it count as a time loop? Each action you do, even looking, counts as 5 minutes past, so a loop of 4 minutes lost with each action. Sounds
Is
more
it-
like...
I don't
Is
think
it a loop
that's,
though?
Yeah,
Starting
Nah.
a new game doesn't count as a loop.
a loop. No.
yeah.
Yeah, at best it would have like a meta reason for hitting your game, but
I,
Well,
I,
I just-
I don't
I
think
realized
that's the
I
same
don't think
thing.
so.
I just cut
See,
you
like,
off
I-
something horrible. I'm
Like
sorry.
Elsinore,
Yeah,
for
no.
example, you start a new game and you repeatedly go through time loops, which it keeps track of. If you've not seen my review, you can do so.
And you
on
can
YouTube.
jump between them as well.
Wait till
Because
the
you've got the
What?
timeline feature. You've got the timeline feature, so you can basically, when you restart a loop, you're like, I want to start from this point, and it will take you there.
Oh, really? Is that new?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing
No.
that when I.
Yeah,
No, it was there.
That's been there.
Yeah.
We need more time loops in games. Time loops are fun.
Yeah. The point
Time
is, you
travel
can have
stories are
fun
fun.
within that loop because you know it's going to reset. So you
Right.
can just fuck about, basically.
Yeah.
Until
Or
it
you can
doesn't.
use foreknowledge to speed along certain tasks.
I
If
think
someone's trying to kill you, for example.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Oh.
let's just say, okay, Life is Strange actually did that one thing where I think it added tension to a moment without the use of timers, but it did it by abusing its own time loop mechanic,
Right.
which is, if you've ever played Life is Strange, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's the rooftop scene. Once you get there, inexplicably, your time powers, your powers to rewind time are suddenly taken from you, basically out of contrivance, but it does suddenly create a sense of urgency, even though you have all the time in the world. You can no longer undo your mistakes. What you
Oh.
do now fucking counts. It does that once in the entire game, and it is heart-wrenching. Just saying.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to make like a RPG like Oblivion or something, like the Elder Scrolls games,
Yeah.
where your leveling of skills stays the same, but you're in a time loop. And so like you can build up your kind of like Groundhog's Day, where he learns how to play the piano and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like I
Throws
think that
himself
would
off
be
buses.
an interesting use of a time loop mechanic where you're not strong enough to beat this guy, but eventually you are able to beat him because you've leveled up your skill. It's kind of like grinding the game, which
Yeah.
just sounds really appealing to me, but I can see why people wouldn't like it. But I think that
you
might be
basically
an
just
interesting
described an
approach.
RPG.
I know, but it would be in a time loop where it's all the same day or something, and
Yeah.
you have to get
that
to a
would be
certain point
Fun.
in
Even
that
just-
day.
Even just
It would have to be like a stranger to the
Would be
town,
fun.
though. It's just like, otherwise you come down, it's like, good morning, Will.
Yeah.
Shit, you got buff.
Yeah, something like that, where
Actually,
you
that
have
would be
to.
cool.
I think
and
that
for
that would
everyone
be
in
an
the
interesting
game,
approach.
this for every NPC in the game, this dude just arrived in town, checked into the hotel. The next
Yeah.
morning, he woke up buff as fuck
Yeah.
and decided
Yeah.
to take on the town
Checked into
tyrant.
the medieval motel.
Yeah, I think
On
that
the
would
corner.
be interesting, where it's
Yeah,
stuck with
just
you throughout the
kicked
time loop,
ass in
so
a
you could
single
like
day.
level, and then like, oh, I can beat this guy that I couldn't beat day 1, but at day 4 I can beat this guy. But then there's something else I need to beat, so I have to keep grinding. Basically, like I said, it's grinding the game. But I bet there is something in there that is not
Again,
frustrating. Like
It
there's
doesn't
a
have to be an
sweet spot.
RPG. You could have this dude who arrives, the stranger arrives, checks into the hotel next morning. He knows everyone's name and deepest
Yeah.
secrets, and it's
Yeah.
it's taken him like
Or-
50 years to get to this point.
A game
If-
where you're on the other side.
But do you
of that,
want
where
that
you're
to be
not
the player character or
Oh,
some? Yeah.
right.
So it's someone else
Yeah.
that's just shown up in town and suddenly knows everyone. And then you'd be like,
knows
Who
everything
suddenly
about you.
realizes
Yeah.
realizes that they are stuck in a time loop
got-
somewhere
somebody's gotta
around
be in a
day
time loop.
47 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be a really interesting approach too.
All right, so
Well,
I've got
you're
one
not
last.
the person in the time loop, but you're somebody outside of it, seeing that this person suddenly knows everybody in town.
So I've got
Francisco,
one
raise your
last
hand. I can see it
aspect.
on you.
See
it in your face.
here. Time
You look
travel.
like you wanted to say something. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry. Oh, you just look like you
we're already like an hour and a half here. So
I know.
We're-
Yeah.
I got time travel written down here, and if anybody has any other kind of aspects after we
a
talk about
meaty
this, they can throw it
topic.
in. But
Day
yeah,
of the Tentacle is the greatest game with.
yeah, Day of the Tentacle
Yeah.
does
Agreed.
it famously.
100%
agree.
agree.
Weirdly
And
enough, apparently
also-
not that much more difficult to design puzzles for it. It's just you do X to do
Yeah.
Y to do Z. It just happens to be the scene that X has to happen in is in a different time period.
Yeah,
While
exactly.
Yeah,
we're
I-
sitting on Telltale, I have to say the Back to the Future game, while I thought it was a nice continuation to the story, I was really disappointed at the fact that they didn't take advantage of the time travel element in puzzles. I think there was one puzzle where you have to use time travel.
Yeah,
to,
right
like,
near the end,
age
isn't it?
Something. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to like put something in the DeLorean and then like get Doc to drive it somewhere, and then he like spends I don't know how much time somewhere, and then he comes back, but only a second has passed, and like whatever you put in the DeLorean has aged.
Yeah,
It
but
was
like,
just really uninspired.
Like turning wine into vinegar.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
For example.
yeah.
Syria
Just
got
a random
some more
example I
examples in the
plucked out of
chat.
the air.
The Journeyman Project 1, Pegasus Prime, obviously did time travel, but it was kind of pointless in that game because all the periods that you could travel to were 22nd century and beyond. You couldn't tell the difference between one time period and another. So why?
Yeah.
Worst kind of time travel.
Right.
Wow.
Now, I haven't played the second and third Journeyman Project games, so maybe they rectified it in those. I don't know. But if you're going to have, like, an even more egregious offender, I played a short little game called TikTok Isle, which was fun. It was charming. But you could travel between two time periods. One was 2009, the other was 2010. Literally 1 year apart. So if you're going to have time travel
Suddenly
in your
there's
games...
memes that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
If you're going to have time travel, have some distinct time periods. Like, Daikatana of all games.
Yeah, run way down.
If Daikatana of all games can get time travel right, it had distinct time periods in between that you go between. And I could be wrong, but I think even the weapons that you use changed depending on the time period you were in. So if Daikatana can fucking get it right...
That's
Then
a good
Again,
idea.
so did Bill and Ted, the adventure game, or
Let's,
what?
No, don't.
I have Bill and Ted, the
I wish,
adventure game.
I wish that game
By
were better.
Capstone.
Capstone.
Yeah.
What is that other?
Capstone made
what is that
so many
Adeline
bad,
game?
What's the
Yeah,
what?
they
so many bad licensed games.
They really
Yeah.
did. But let's talk about a game that features time travel, where you go to a bunch of locations that might as well be locations because there's no temporal puzzles and there's no the time travel is pretty pointless anyway. A little game called Space Quest 4.
I was about to say
I can
what.
rebut
No.
everything you're about
Oh,
to
wow,
say.
I'm peeking.
You what?
I can
I just
rebut
realized I'm
everything
thinking.
you're about to say.
I want to
So-
hear
Because-
this. I want to hear this.
I think there's a
Lord.
perfectly missed opportunity for comedy in Space Quest 4 because you go back to Space Quest 1 in that game, and yeah, the point that you go back to in Space Quest 1 is after Roger visited there in the first game because there's the hole in the ground from the ship and whatever, and like whatever, and the bartender's like, oh, you messed up my machine or whatever. And like in Space Quest 1 VGA, they actually acknowledge this, where they have the time pod like come into
Materialized, but in the wrong
materialize.
fucking screen.
Yeah, exactly. Now it would have been funny if like they had done something where like there was some sort of item in Space Quest 1. I mean, obviously they would have had to reverse engineer this or just think really cleverly. But like say that there was some sort of item in Yulin's Flats that would have been super beneficial to Roger in that game that you then have to steal in Space Quest 4, and as a result of your taking it, now you've screwed things up for Roger in Space Quest 1, and that's how it plays out.
Right.
normally.
No,
Like,
okay.
Have,
could have
have
been
some
funny.
consequences
Check
to
this
the,
out.
to the time travel.
Check this out.
But
Check this out.
Go.
Check this out.
Go ahead.
Dude. Instead of rebutting everything you're about to say, I'm gonna get in fucking bed with you because I had an
Ooh,
idea.
baby.
It's about time.
I had an idea for a Space
is
Quest
YAR
fan game
talk
that I
after
really
dark.
wanted.
Snuggle up that scarecrow body into next to me.
yeah.
I'll pick it up.
No, seriously, I had an idea for a Space Quest fan game that I thought was absolutely ingenious. I just couldn't get off my ass and actually sit down and design it. You play as Roger Jr. in the future of Space Quest 12.
like
You have
it.
the time
Right.
gun,
Sold.
and what you're actually doing is going back in time and setting things up for your dad to succeed in the
Right.
previous Space Quest game.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
great.
get there
I
in
like
Space
it.
Quest 2. You go to Labion. You put the fucking gem in the cavern down below. You go to Space
Nice.
Quest 1. You put the little widget thing in the star generator room and all this shit. And it basically Roger's blind luck turns out to actually be his son's forethought, which
Yeah.
creates an enormous paradox.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. I love it.
But I mean, if
But
Space
someone
Quest
needs to
4
design that game.
I like it.
had done something.
Sold.
If Space Quest 4 had done something a little bit more clever with the time travel stuff, then it could have been a better game, I feel. Because essentially it just boils down to you know, Roger's going to different planets. He's not traveling to different time periods aside from, oh yeah, haha, it's Space Quest 10 or whatever.
Yeah, that was my rebuttal.
Might as
He's
well
not
just be
technically traveling in time. He's traveling in sequels.
Yeah, but you know,
One of them
still
could have
his
been a prequel,
future.
you never know.
Cute thing.
Yeah.
See, what I was hoping you would say is like you would go back to Space Quest 1 and then there'd be a way you could accidentally kill yourself and end the series early.
And then it just stops.
5 does that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Space 5 does
Because
that.
all
If you-
physical box
Yeah,
copies
Space Quest
disappear.
5 is what I was going to bring
It
up.
doesn't
If
even
you
give you a
freeze-
death. You just,
If
it's
you,
gone.
oh yeah, if you
Well-
stick Beatrice in the cryo chamber and then broil her to bits, that triggers that's a death scene that goes, well, because you incinerated your loved ones, Roger Wilco Jr. will never be born, and now you'll never get saved in Space Quest 4. So fuck you.
Well,
like
with this
that.
character's death,
Yeah.
the thread
Well, they
of
had that-
prophecy is severed.
Just
They did
crash
that
the game
joke.
right there.
they did
There
that
was
joke
one
at
like
the
that.
end.
Was it Space Quest 6? You could move Space Quest directory into the trash on a computer, and if you did
That was
that,
4.
it instantly quit
it's
the. It was
4.
4.
That was
It
for,
instantly
yeah.
quit the
It
game.
would just crash the game.
Yeah.
Has this been brought up already and I didn't notice?
Nope.
No, it's,
okay,
just,
cool.
it's the most famous dick move in
Yeah.
advanced gaming history, and I love it. I love
It just
to
kind of makes me
bits.
think of Metal Gear
funny.
Solid 3, where if you kill certain characters, you get a game over because 3 is a prequel.
Yeah.
So you kill that character, they don't show up in a sequel, and it's a time paradox. But
That's great.
for
That's
at least
clever.
one of them,
I need
you
to play
shoot
those
somebody
games.
and you get a trophy that says, problem solved, series over.
This is totally off the rails, and I'm sorry, but as a quick, since I brought up No One Lives Forever before, have you all played that, by the way?
No, it didn't
It's
run on
been
my
a
computer.
while.
Sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
it's one of those games.
I won't
That-
spoil
Love
it,
Tech is
but
weird.
There's a character who dies, and the big reveal at the end is that they weren't actually dead. But there's a point where they
So
get
they live forever?
No one lives forever.
No one lives forever. But anyway, when they get shot, there's the game. There's a cutscene where they get shot, and then the game continues, and you're in the room with their dead body. And of course, since it's a first-person shooter, you can totally shoot them. But if you do that, you get a game over, and it's like, you defiled their corpse. That's how they handled that paradox, which I thought was
Nice.
clever.
Yeah.
Fitting.
I remember, like, what's it called? Seeing someone play, what's that game called? The Darkness. And,
yeah.
like, at the beginning of the game where, like, your Uncle Paulie's laying dying and you've got the gun, you can just shoot him. Like, he's just, well, he's dying
old
anyway, might
Yeller
as well
him.
just stab. Yeah.
Mercy killing.
It's not quite a time thing, but in Ultima 7, if you cast the Armageddon spell,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can kill everybody except for certain characters.
Because they're plot relevant, so
They're
then they
plot
make it.
relevant, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
go and talk to them, and they're like, "What did you do?"
I know this was you.
Great, it's really good.
And of course, no
can
time
get-
travel
Not to
involved,
mention,
but
some of those characters you can kill anyway.
Kill in other ways.
Yeah.
Via different
Yes.
methods.
no time travel
Via
involved.
clocks
But
falling
Oblivion
down.
and Skyrim, of course, you try and kill certain important characters, they'll just be unconscious. They won't actually die.
And then you,
Or
you
they'll
realize,
just,
oh,
they'll
this
just
is
get
a
real
important
tired
character.
for a minute.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
go
I chopped
down
his
on
head
one
off.
knee.
He's exhausted. He's the poor thing.
They just go with
You
it,
would be, wouldn't
walk
you?
it off. Walk it off.
ragdoll,
Yeah.
and then they just lay on
I
the
can't
floor
remember.
for a while. and then
Can you
stand
kill
up.
Lord British by poisoning his bread as well?
You can kill Lord British by poisoning his bread. He takes a walk in the afternoon
And
at
the
3
plot-
o'clock, and you can
and
click
you hit
the
the plot.
sign, and it falls on his head.
You just wink at it really hard? Like, how does
you
that
can
work?
poison his bread, and then you find a letter on his dead body saying he was having an affair with
Sherry the mouse.
no, not Sherry the mouse, not Sherry the mouse. The
'Cause that would be
the-
weird.
The baker lady.
Ah.
I can't remember her name. But there's a letter on his body. If you kill Lord British in Ultima 7, that indicates
not really
he's,
an
he's sleeping.
Yeah. He's not really an
married.
Who was he
affair.
writing
He's
to?
not
It's
married.
like, Dear
Yeah.
diary, I'm a filthy, cheating little
A
prick.
secret relationship. It's very funny.
Okay,
Speaking
you
of
remind
time-
me
Alright,
of
so
that.
that's-
Okay,
We sure have been going for a while.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's all. That's all the aspects of time I've got. Has anybody got anything? Any other kind of time mechanics?
Oh,
they
I think
wanted
I've
to
said
add?
enough.
I think it's time to
I
go.
will very quickly
I
briefly
have
mention
a actual watch.
One at a time.
the action adventure game Entomorph, where there is a time element in there, and that if near the end of the game, if you don't, it's a weird game. Like if you don't get this this weird bug thing born in your shoulder, and you go to the final boss. I said it's a weird game. Let's just go with it. But if you go to the final boss without this weird extra your baby coming out of your shoulder, your bug baby coming out of your shoulder, if you go to the final boss, the final boss is actually this massive time wielding spider, and she'll send you back to the beginning of the game.
Oh,
So
Time
I
wielding
love it.
spider
oh.
I
has to be
had
the
some other
title of this
things.
video.
And
I mentioned it in the chat, though.
there's an LP of me playing it, and there you will actually hear me scream as this thing happens.
Oh, wow. So go watch for that. Speaking of which, let's plug
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
The kind of sassy rough that I like. Yeah.
So anyway, time travel is fun in games. Time dialogue puzzles, use them sparingly and fairly. Thank you for
And
bringing it back down
and
to
time
earth.
mazes, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
time
no.
mazes, burn them to death.
Time
In this TED Talk, we will...
Looking at you, time travels, time wars. Is it
Time
time
Quest?
wars? What's the Delphine
Future,
game?
Future Wars?
Time fuckery.
Future Wars.
Future
Thank
Wars.
you, Trolls.
Future Wars.
Thank you, Trolls.
Future fuckery.
Okay.
Fuckery
Yeah.
wars.
So
Fuck
let's
you,
fuck.
plug some stuff. Francisco, do you have anything to plug?
Why, yes. As a matter of fact, all 3 of my commercial games are currently on sale on GOG.com. You can get Lamplight City for 30% off. You can get a Golden Wake for, I believe, 70% off. And you can get Shardlight for about that amount, too. But get the first 2, because I don't make any money from Shardlight. So...
Oh, Kiddo.
Oh,
But still, all 3 are worth it.
yes.
Definitely go buy them. Nat.
Yes. So, well, tomorrow we're gonna be streaming Legend of Corandia 2 because we don't have Dave. But next week we're doing a very big stream for the Coles Summer Days. Please do not selfie stick that Yoshi, Trolls. But yes, so we're going to be doing a very big stream where you could win a box, very much like Francisco's. We will be doing our own voice acting for Quest for Glory 4, including the Coles.
Is for Glory 4?
Yes,
Yeah,
It
Lori.
changed.
It was going to
Maybe.
be 1, but Laurie Cole decided she wanted 4, and I was like, well, you're already playing 4 this month, and she was
I
like, yeah,
wanna
let's
be-
do it.
I want to
Sorry.
be Baba Yaga. I
wanted to be Baba Yaga,
Oh, well, I'll fight you for it.
but what's it called? We're actually doing. I've got to roll the dice today, but basically, so I will. I'll give you Baba Yaga, but I'm rolling the dice for pretty much everything. So it's gonna be absolutely crazy about who gets what. There might be men voicing women, women voicing men.
You
I
know
know
what?
Corey
Let's
Cole
just-
does. Yeah,
Forgive
So
my
true
cold dibs
Shakespearean.
at Baba Yaga. Let's just leave it to chance.
leave it to chance. The only role that I've taken is RESULKA for obvious
course.
reasons. And
would
Corey
you take
Cole
that
has
one?
claimed, Corey Cole has claimed Dr. Cranium. So
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
yeah, but other than that, that's all I got at the moment. It's a big something, but yeah.
Trolls, what you got?
Well, I've got a
Leprosy?
VR headset. And,
Ooh,
uh,
Same thing.
I've been recording
Same
some videos with
difference.
it today.
Yeah.
Actually, I had one of those dreaded. I actually ran out of hard drive space playing a VR game today, and that means that OBS
Show
does not
offs.
save the video.
Mine's
That-
over
no,
there. I can't
this-
be arsed.
This
Yeah.
is on loan from.
Mine doesn't
Alexander
exist,
P.
so I can't be arsed.
I don't have any interesting props to.
mine's
stimulate
going to Scotland in a
VR.
couple of weeks with me.
So anyway, there are some VR videos coming out on my channel very, very soon. I play Starship Commander, which is Alexander's game, so obviously I play that first. And then I'm playing a little game called Elena or Elena or whatever the fuck that is. Basically, it's a game where a woman has marital aid in her desk drawer, and the rest of the plot is kind of a blur.
Is that?
And
Oh, never mind.
Can you give me the details of that? For
yeah,
reasons.
that will.
Give me the
Well,
deal.
marital aid means
There's like a futuristic game called Elea, and it's episodic. Is it that one, or totally different
No,
game?
it's
Wait, why is that
Elena, but- Anyway, it's
You'll have to
also-
explain to me after the stream.
when you're older.
Also, I'm also playing Sam & Max Hit the Road on my channel, and most importantly of all, the two guys from Andromeda's birthdays are coming up soon. In fact, Scott Murphy's birthday is October 13th, and I'm holding the Space Quest Olympics 2019, second annual Space Quest Olympics. do join in. It's a Sunday. It's regular stream time for me. There's a pinned tweet on my Twitter page. Go and have a look at that.
So
We'll
it's
be playing
Monday
arcade
morning for me.
sequences. We're playing arcade sequences from Space Quest and being absolutely awful at them. At least I will be. I don't know about everyone else. And all donations go to pay for Scott Murphy and his shitty cancer. Well, technically the removal of his shitty cancer.
Because fuck the
Might be idea to
American
get rid
medical
of that,
healthcare
yeah.
system.
Exactly. And there's also a fan art
Great.
competition for Mark Crow, but that's much later in the year. There's a deadline in late November, and there's going to be a stream where we pick the winner, and Josh Mandel is going to be there, along with Livia Bohr from Gibbous, Tom King from Space Venture,
Wow.
and Mr. Gonzalez himself.
Who?
So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Thank you. Good night.
Iki.
I reviewed Stripperbrook. I'm going to review Little Misfortune probably. The
Yay.
new game from Fanbo people.
And
That's
then
it.
you're going on break for some reason.
For some reason.
We don't know
Are
why.
you pregnant as well?
Yeah. Yes. In Scotland, our pregnancies are very, very fast.
I know. It's...
In your shoulder. Pete, what you got going on?
I have
Oh,
9
God.
spacemen. 9 spacemen. That's it. I don't have
You're-
anything. I don't have anything.
She works
I
more
have
behind.
not-
Podcast
Spaceman.
coming back. When's the podcast coming back?
My podcast?
Yeah.
Your
Uh,
favorite game?
Yeah,
that was a good
I do have a podcast. I haven't
We
done
talked about
an
Quest for
episode
Glory.
in so long. I haven't done an episode in forever.
Did you
and ever
only
and ever
have
and ever.
Ben and me on?
Bring
as
it
guests?
back from the
No,
dead.
I've
No,
had all
Bex
sorts
as well.
of people.
Oh, okay.
I've had all sorts of people. I just, you know,
You haven't
run
been
out
listening
of-
to the podcast, clearly.
I clearly haven't.
It's fine. I haven't done an
I'm an
episode in like a year
asshole.
and a half. Fine.
Bring it back from the dead.
Forgive me.
Hey, you want to feel like an asshole? I forget who I've had on my podcast.
Hey, can I be on to talk about Quest for Glory?
Hey, what about me, too?
Hey, I'm really indecisive. You could have me on every week. I would have a different answer.
If I could muster up my shit to edit a podcast, I would do it more often. But
Edit.
yeah,
What is that?
I don't. I
Yeah,
gotta
what is
get
that?
those sniffles out. You guys,
No.
you don't understand the
It's,
sniffles. The war
no,
against sniffles.
it's authentic.
It's life.
It's awful. It's just terrible. It drives me crazy. I listen to it over and over and over
Well,
again, and I'm like,
Francisco's
no,
taking
that's
cocaine, so maybe we
sniffles.
should leave.
Well,
I was
Or
playing
we
a
stop
game.
recording.
as for
I know,
me,
but you live for it.
As for Gemini.
yeah, as far as my plugs go, I got a shirt. I had a shirt made.
Hey,
Hey!
Anyway, videos go. I got a couple of videos planning in the works. Still haven't started work on them yet, but keep an eye on my Twitter, or if you support me on Patreon, keep an eye on it there, and you guys will get first dibs. But I've been streaming more on my Twitch channel, so check me out there. Follow me there if you haven't already. And here on YAR, I believe we will be recording more Ween after we get done here.
Expert
There
level.
is-
Yep, more expert
there is
level.
one
level.
So check out the new show if you haven't checked that out already. And I'm sure we've got we'll have more FMV Club and expeditions and all that, and a Moose Douche, all that kind of thing at some point in the future.
Yeah, I
So,
need to editing. And
Yeah,
and Douche Mountain will be coming back because of the Adventure X quiz.
right.
my baby.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
And
Oh, yeah, we're
we
doing
have
a quick
whole,
retro.
we have a whole
On.
season of Douche Mountain that I still haven't gotten around to. Maybe I should just send it to you, RESULKA, because you can.
Oh God, I have so much to edit. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you'll be off for 2 weeks, so you'll have plenty of time.
I could just upload my Cavalcade weird shit.
Yeah,
without
she's
editing
got
it.
that show too.
Oh yeah, you got a show as well.
Yeah,
I do, but
we
I
got a
don't
lot
wanna
of shows in the
edit anything.
backlog that we haven't done anything with.
So
We'll get to them
lazy.
at some point.
So lazy.
Oh yeah.
In the
I'm sorry.
meantime,
adults, unfortunately.
that'll do it for us here. Thank you for everybody for showing up. Really fun chat, really long-winded chat, but really fun
Extended
nonetheless.
remix.
It was a meaty topic. What can I say?
Yes, it was.
If only it
And
was a timed conversation.
thanks to
And now, super happy gay fun time.
I tried to keep it a
Gay
timed
fun time.
conversation, but everybody kept talking over each
I
other.
think
Anyway,
that game has evolved since last I looked.
Just time loop back.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, welcome to YAR Talk.
yes.
Today
no.
we'll be talking
no.
about-
We're talking about
No.
time loops.
Thanks to everybody for
Oh
showing
no,
up.
I didn't have the little bug in my shoulder.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm wrapping this thing up. Bye.